right, I've got the thumbs up. That means we're ready to go. So I will call to order this meeting of the Whitestown Fire Board for August 7th, 2024. It is 6:01 p.m. Chief, would you call the roll, please?
Jim Baldwin.
Present.
Eric Nichols.
Present.
Dan Patterson.
Present.
Michelle O'Connor.
Present.
Mike Hancock.
Absent.
Casey Copeland.
Absent. All right. So we have 4 voting for the night. All right. With that, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Takes us to item 2, approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I would make a motion that we move item number 5, presentations, to wherever we need it, since it's my understanding we have somebody that is stuck in traffic. So if we have to put it just whenever everyone's here, we can go ahead and insert that. That would be my motion.
Sounds good. We have
I've just been advised that he just pulled in.
I'm not going to second that then.
We'll stick with it.
We'll stick
Okay.
Second. We have a motion to move item number 5 to whenever all parties are present and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carries 4-0. With that, then, I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Carries 4-0. Takes us to item 3, approval of the minutes. We have the July minutes that were presented. Does anybody have any modifications or questions on the minutes? And if none, do we have a motion?
I would move that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries 4-0. Minutes are adopted. Item number 4, public request to speak. We have nobody online. Do we have anybody in the audience to speak on a non-agenda item? We all know why you're here. All right. Carries us to item 5. Are all people here or not? Chief, I've been paying attention to the flow and not to who's come in.
We are good.
Everybody's here and good? All
We are
right.
good.
Then we will insert item 5 on presentations here for the badge pinning. Chief, take it away.
Okay, so one, thank you for the opportunity for allowing me this extra time this evening to be able to honor these promoted individuals and do a traditional badge pinning for their promotion of their success in their career and their much earned hard work. So if I could get all of you being promoted to come up here, I'd appreciate it. So we will start off this evening with Brandy Cunningham. Brandy started as a firefighter here in 2012, worked her way through the ranks of lieutenant and captain, and has recently been promoted to the division chief of EMS. So Brandy tonight will be pinned by her fiance, Quinn. All right, next.
Oh, I mean, come on. We got
Oh, okay, all right. Next, we have Levi Kendall. Started here with us, Whitestown, in 2009. Also has been a lieutenant and captain, and is now being promoted to the rank of battalion chief. Levi, Chief Kendall, will be pinned by his wife, Libby Kendall, and his children, Colton and Axton, are here as well. All right, Marty Yoler. Marty started in 2015, has been a lieutenant for us, and is now being promoted to the rank of captain. Marty will be pinned by his son Henry and daughter Nora. Nathan Joseph. Nathan also started in 2015 with the Whitestown Fire Department, was serving the rank of lieutenant, and now is being promoted to captain as well. Nathan will be pinned by his wife Samantha and kids Nicholas, Jonathan, Jackson, and Madison. All right, Chris Ellett. Chris Ellett has been with us since 2015. He is a newly promoted officer now to the rank of lieutenant. Chris will be pinned by his wife, Katie. And for our final promotion of the evening, Josh Caudill has been with the Whitestown Fire Department also since 2015. Seems to be a little bit of a trend here. Josh is newly promoted as well, rising to the rank of lieutenant, and he will be pinned by his wife, Melissa, son Vincent, and daughter Kyla. All right, congratulations to all of you. My sincerest congratulations and thanks for what you do for this department. And on behalf of the administration, we wish you nothing but the best in your new endeavors. Congratulations.
Love it. Those are the best. I don't see any blood on the floor, so they went all right.
Got a little dicey there for one or two.
Got a little dicey a couple of times.
Is this where we went on one family that from here on out it's not nearly as exciting?
This is the part we get to that's not nearly as exciting. So I just want to say thank you all for, first of all, everybody for coming. And most importantly, well, maybe second most importantly, thank you all for the effort that you've put in over these years. Promotions are earned, they're not given. And so I appreciate your dedication to this department, your dedication to being better and continuing to be better and continuing to make this department better. And maybe most, right, that's the number one, is thank you to all your family members who give you to us for your time every shift. As most of you know, I was a firefighter for 21 years, right? And my wife and kids served as much, if not more, than I did in that time frame. So thank you all for lending your loved ones to us, and thank you to the newly promoted officers as well as all the members of the fire department for all that you do for our citizens and all the people that visit and pass through Whitestown every day.
Hear, hear.
With that, the rest of this gets boring. So feel free to stay if you would like to stay. If you don't want to stay, you're not going to hurt anybody's feelings up here.
Those with small children, now's the time.
And if anybody's got a piece of cake,
I was told there was punch and pie. Congratulations. I feel like we should have like an intermission.
one of those old 1990s dancing
Right,
movies,
right.
feelings.
You know how to clear it better than
We got some true believers that are going to stick it out.
me. No.
No, they were just waiting for the traffic to get out. Got it.
Have something nice with their family.
They're more than welcome to hang out and talk in the foyer. If we want to, we can shut the doors so that we can just get going. Up to you.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I was saying if they want to.
He's gonna shut 'em.
Congratulate, that's perfectly cool, but maybe we shut the doors that way. They don't have to be bothered by us.
I was thinking the same thing. I think he's working on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's good.
Awesome.
So we're good.
On top of it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Takes us to item 6, stats and updates, Chief.
All right, so for Pub Ed PR, we attended the final summer concert series with Fire and EMS Standby. We flew the ladder flag at the town's firework event, attended a Pub Ed event at Walker Farms Pool Party, and also the 4th of July Parade in Lebanon and Touch a Truck event at the Boone County Fair. Additionally, we did conduct a Little League EMS drill focused on patient removal from different areas within the facility, and also concluded the Northside Fire Academy graduation. So we welcomed Sam Sodrell to shift a couple weeks ago, so he is in full swing. Inspection prevention, 53 annual inspections, 16 re-inspections, 12 new building, no COOs, 7 plan reviews for the month of July. Fire training, we had a total of 2,308 hours of training. A lot of the uptick in hours of training for this month was the acquired structures that we had, recent officer promotions that brought a lot of different company level training as well, and finishing up the academy. So within those, we did have a pretty large month of training. EMS billing, July month to date, 40,753. Year to date is now at 246,926, putting us 43, almost 44% above where we were at last year with that. You can see on the EMS report, had 207 hours of EMS training, 77 patient contacts, 74 transports, the breakdown and further details as well. A lot of transitional training with outgoing Chief Wilkie, and some affiliate meetings, and just trying to get acclimated to that position was a lot of the EMS division this month. Moving on to run stats, 171 total calls for the month, bringing our total to 1,203 for the year, which is still a large increase from where we were at last year at 291 runs, or a 32% increase. So that is continuing.
What was it
trend.
for last year? Could you say it again?
We were 291 runs ahead of where we were at last year at this point in time, at the end of July.
Thank you, sir.
So 32% increase. And then you have all the different incident maps for your review.
Chief, I have a quick question regarding trying to compare this year to last year. As I was on the board last year, I just want to find out, and you may not have this information, that's totally okay, but the uptick in runs that we're having, is it across the board for all types of runs, or is there like one or two run types that are getting more attention than they were last year?
So typically, you're right, I do not know the details as far as that goes, but if you look at the year-to-date on, I think it's on here.
Call today.
No, I didn't, I thought it was on here, but it's not. So we typically stay around the 60-40, 70-30, more like, on fire versus EMS. So I don't have it drilled down into the details. I can certainly get that. But typically the types of runs stay the same. It's just an increase in volume.
Just more of them, okay. So I just didn't know if, like, example-wise, if you're saying, yeah, there's a whole lot more car crashes, Dan, that would give us some kind of data. But if it's everything just being boosted, that,
Right. Nothing has jumped out at us. I can say that it's raised any flags for us as we monitor this, but typically just with growth and sometimes the way things are for
it
the
is
year.
expected, right? More
Yeah.
people? Thank you. One tiny little green dot.
Well, on the positive side, the fewer of those, the better.
Right?
All right. Any other questions or discussion on the stats and updates? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to item 7, unfinished business. Item E, vacation cash out policy. We had this one last month. I think the one piece that I didn't think to remind people on last month is this was in the contract, so we have to do something, but there's terms as to having a policy, but then we had to draft the policy, and that's what was called out in the contract as well. So the terms of how we wrote this are subject to discussion. So had that last month, had some questions. Did you have anything else to bring back on this, Chief?
So really the only thing to bring back is I've been working with the accountants as asked by the board to kind of figure out the fiscal impact of this, and haven't been able to get an official answer from them as of yet. I know there's definitely some back and forth as to trying to figure out how to guesstimate this. So I went back and I worked with the union to have them send out a survey for this year alone to say, hey, how many people, how much time do you anticipate on cashing in with this policy? And we ended up getting 33 responses out of the 51 personnel that it was sent to. So we're estimating about 1,272 hours this year, which if we take the average hourly rate of the employees, we're looking at around $38,160. So assuming probably no more than $40,000 impact this year. Pending any catastrophic overtime issues and needing additional funding, that shouldn't be an issue since this contract was signed after the budget process was done for last year, so it's kind of new. Right now, it's looking okay. There's definitely other areas within the budget that we could utilize if need be. Of course, that would take council action to move that around, but the funding is there within the budget to do this. So.
And so Crone hasn't been able to compare that to savings on overtime.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
nothing yet.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on the cash out policy? And if not, do we have a motion?
Now, this is a recommendation to the council, correct? Or is this, since this?
This is a
general order-
policy. I think this is ours. Yeah, as a general order.
So this is all up to us, correct?
Buck stops here on this one.
To my knowledge, correct?
You said you had a little bit of back and forth going with Crone, you just hadn't gotten a definitive answer?
Right.
What have they said so far that you've heard?
Haven't really said anything in regards to this. I know it was kind of back and forth on some data, but I've gotten it to him, and I know one of the contacts I was dealing with has been out of town, so, or at least out of the office, so.
And you said that you had budget to cover what you expect in your current fiscal budget?
Correct.
If you needed a additional appropriation, you'd have to go to council, but this is a general order, so.
Not anticipating needing the additional, but
I don't know if my mic's on, so.
Is there a hard deadline on when this is passed, or does it just need to be passed sometime this year?
the contract actually stated that it needed to be in effect June 1st or earlier
Okay.
Of what year?
this year.
Sure.
We did labor management work through all this and definitely got it in place, just working through the process now. So I don't feel that there's any ill will, especially since we aren't intending on this taking place until the October and on time frame annually. So.
Any other questions, discussion? Seeing none, then I make a motion to approve the vacation cash out policy general order as presented.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries 4-0. Takes us to item 8, new business, the 2025 proposed budget. So before we jump into that, just some context on this. We have hit budget season, obviously, and as we recall, I will take the licks for having messed this up last year. So we are in front and on time this year. So I don't plan on taking any action on this other than tabling right today. This is essentially, for all intents and purposes, what council side would be a first read, right? It's put in front of you for you to take a look at. We'll take time here to discuss, and of course, if you have any inputs and such, feel free to send them to Chief after the meeting and progressing on. But this is out there as a presentation to the group as a starting point. I talked to the town manager yesterday or Tuesday, whatever, I guess today's Wednesday, so yesterday. We don't actually need to approve this as a town until October council meeting so that we can get our proper state filings in. So our fire board meeting in October is before the council meeting. I'm not suggesting we need to wait for October, but I say that to say we're several months ahead. And so there's time to look at this, ponder it, provide input and that kind of stuff. This is being put forth today as, again, almost like a first read. It's exposure to the group, and we can discuss and provide inputs here, provide inputs to chief. And my intention is we bring it back again next month to look at it again. So with that, any comments from you, chief, or we open into the board to discuss?
Would you like for me to give a rundown now? or-
Sure. Please.
Okay. I was hoping for that. So a couple different budgets that I initially sent with the documents for the meeting. In the budget workbook, there was a couple different ones, right? There's a one that has the green in the top left and the one that has the blue. I was waiting for some final information. So the official budget I would like to propose is the one in the blue. And we will go through that one. Really, the difference is the blue is hiring 3, but it also has a pretty substantial deduction because of a band payment that has dropped off as of this year. So with that, kind of just starting with the summary, the overall budget you see in front of you is $9,912,438. So kind of a misnomer, but I wanted to put this in front of you to explain this out. In Group 1, you'll see a highlighted section on the right for health insurance for the $1,040,000. The town is taking over that for all the different departments and all the different budgets. They're taking over health insurance. So I do not have it as part of my budget anymore. So essentially, that drops this down to $8,872,438. It's taking that $1,040,000 off the top there. Excuse me. The increase without that deduction in there, if you will, of health insurance is $544,000 of an increase, so a 5.81% increase. Taking that out, the insurance out, it's actually a $495,000, almost $496,000 deduction from what it is this year currently. We do not have any current projections for 2025 lit funding, so I'm unable to provide the breakdown as you see within the current year spending. You'll see the lit column, the regular, and the combined. As far as that goes, I do not have that information, so we're just speaking in overall numbers. In personal services, all increases are based on the contract amounts that was signed by council last year. All the salary schedules that are within there. The 3% match for 457 contributions has a line as well. And that line is actually based on the maximum. If every single employee contributed the maximum amount to their 457, that's what the employer's responsibility would be. So I don't foresee us being even close to that, but it is a relatively small number, and I would imagine it'd take at least 2-3 years to kind of develop a trend to see how much it's getting used for a more accurate budget. It also includes 3 additional firefighter positions within all the different lines there. We also have a line for vacation cash out. And essentially, I'm pretty much doubling the anticipated amounts we spoke of earlier for this year as a budget line for that, to accommodate that. So we're hoping the 3 additional firefighter positions will continue to build our personnel up to get us to where we can add an additional fire apparatus into service, start working towards that Station 3 in the future, rather than trying to push it all in at once and hire a bunch of personnel. So this is just kind of continuing that plan that we have in place. Currently, it'll assist in reducing our overtime costs. Don't really have a number to what that would be, but having more staff available on shift would obviously help us fill voids, but yet keep the same number of personnel on the apparatus. Moving on into groups 2 through 4, or the supplies, other services and charges and capital outlays. Year to year, this really doesn't fluctuate a whole lot for the fire department. This is simply our operating stuff. Unless we're making some big changes or plans with equipment or facilities or things like that, this stays pretty level other than kind of cost of living type adjustments. So within the supply area, our fuel did increase. We're just kind of guesstimating on what market changes there may be and additional run load increases and things like that. It's kind of a moving target, if you will. Uniforms and PPE were both increased. A couple different reasons. Vendor increases happen every year. Fire gear alone this year was a 7% increase on its cost. And then adding the additional personnel that we have proposed in there will obviously contribute to it a little bit to get them up and running. Other services and charges, we did do a slight reduction in communications and tracking software lines. Those were basically recommended based on the trending from the accountant and the meeting we had. That's kind of where they suggested we land on that. Our P&C insurance, it was raised significantly to match the significant increase we had this year. And I'm not quite 100% sure on how that's going to work out for next year. I am told it's not going to be as much, but I'm still working on trying to firm up those numbers. But the budget on here reflects a little bit more than what we are paying this year. And it was kind of a surprise for us as well. Our band payment, this is the payment that fell off. It was matured, everything was paid off, and I didn't have it. I don't know if it's removed on your budget copy or not. I was kind of trying to wait. That's why we had the two different budgets, to wait to see what the final answer was from Crone, to see if it truly was completely paid off, and it was. So that essentially is moved up into the personnel services to hire the additional 3, and it's actually about $30,000 less than what the other budget was, not hiring 3, if we still had that payment. So, and then we had a little bit of an increase in miscellaneous line, and again, that was based on the accountant recommendation, just based on trending, and a lot of that's used for services and things like that, so there's obviously a cost of living and vendor type adjustment as well. Our capital outlays remain the same. We don't have any major projects that our operational budget could afford necessarily, not a station or an apparatus or things like that. But this is definitely something we like to have in there and keep steady in case we have some major expenses come up with facilities, major equipment purchases or replacements that we may need. And if anything, our fire department cash reserves are pretty much non-existent, and we've been working kind of year by year these past couple of years to try and put what we don't spend in that to build up that cash reserve fund for the fire line. And then finally, on to the EMS budget. All the lines aside from training were increased to match the current trends. Past couple of years, this budget hasn't been increased from the get, and we know that from all the additional appropriations I keep bugging you about for the past couple of years. So this adjustment should take care of all that. And again, those aren't tax dollar amounts. It's revenue from the fund. But for full transparency, we treat it just like we would any other budget line.
Speak of the fund on that, can we get a number on here on Crone's estimates for EMS income for next year?
So I have a complete summary. I plan on bringing it in front of you in September because we did have a lengthy discussion. I know I brought up in the past about whether we pay cash for the ambulance, whether we pay off the old lease, things like that. I've sent that to them. I'm still waiting for their official letter instead of just trying to tell you, hey, take my word for it, he said so, which is all I've got right now. But we are sitting very good, and my recommendation will be to pay cash for the ambulance. That will still leave us with plenty in the reserve, along with funding next year's budget out of that. So all that's accounted for, but I'll have that for you next month.
And has this been presented to the town yet for balancing across all town budgets?
I don't know that that aspect has been done. I know Katie has a copy of it, and the only other meeting I've had was with Crone and the clerk, so I couldn't tell you where they're at with that.
Yes, Katie.
They may not have the numbers yet anyway, so I don't know. As of, I think yesterday, Katie didn't have the numbers yet from Crone for next year, so. With that, the floor is open. Not like it wasn't open before.
Just kind of jumping anyway.
Means that I'm done talking for the moment while I review some more.
Well, I just think it's good that we've got a little bit of time to review
sorry, Jim?
this. I'm sorry. I think it's good that we've got a little bit of breathing room on this to
Sure.
review it and look at it and write down any questions. I mean, this is a lot to process at one meeting, so I think it's good.
And
that
if I
we've got
could
some-
request on that, if you have questions that come up, please reach out to me in advance so I can dig through numbers and things like that and have some sort of answer for you, even if it's I'm still waiting, like half my answers this evening. I would much rather that way so I could have a little bit of time to get you an exact answer of what you're looking for.
It was a
Chief, I think you might have touched on this when you were going through it, but just in case. The 15% increase for the PPE, is that increase in cost and supplier, or is that new PPE coming out? Where's
So,
that 15 coming from?
That whole line is, basically, we've got it down to where we have a set number of sets we buy every year to rotate through primary set, secondary set, maintenance on things. But the cost overall for buying fire gear has went up 7% alone this year. Obviously, it'll probably go up in the magical March timeframe of the following year that vendors typically have. So along with that and adding the 3 personnel, that's where that 15% came from.
Thank you.
Okay. Lit, what does lit mean?
So lit is a local income tax that is off the county's base there. So
Okay. And the ban?
the ban is a bond anticipation note, and that was $1 million ban for building the
That we did.
headquarters Station 272.
So it's a paid-off bond.
There we go. Thank you.
If memory serves me correct, that lit took the place of the COLIT.
That's
Used
correct.
to be the county option income tax, and now it's just.
Yes.
That's correct.
So remind me again, Chief, what was the ban payment? I don't remember what that was.
It was an extra $1 million to complete the project of the headquarters Station 272.
Okay.
Just said that.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Hey, you
Ask
were
you.
looking at things. It's okay.
She had asked it for us.
My bad. I swear I listened to you.
Well, we were talking about someone was gonna ask
I just asked the same question you did, apparently.
You asked it in a different way.
What's that?
He asked it in a different way.
Yeah, there you go. Ambulance, you hear anything from it?
So we are still looking at the October timeframe. They are currently building it in some way, shape, or form.
Did they get you a VIN?
It's actually in production.
Okay.
So I haven't seen any physical proof, but for some reason I'm believing that.
It's not just a chassis. is it?
Yeah.
Somewhere, some
Yeah.
company right now is making the tires. It's in.
So that is why in September I'm going to be coming to you for preparation and that, and
Okay.
go over the EMS revenue.
And just to be clear, the green is not applicable.
Correct. I am proposing the blue to hire 3.
Okay.
So for simplification, get rid of the green if you want.
Any other questions for the moment on the budget?
I noticed you have the physicals highlighted yellow, like the other ones that were kind of questionable. Can you?
Sorry, that one's a no for me. From the meeting I had with the accountants and the clerk's office, their number was different in the email he sent me, and I need to make sure that gets corrected.
Okay. So no meeting for our purposes.
No meeting.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, the
Most of those are
1
just for
million
me.
is coming
Most of
out.
the highlights there, I'm sorry.
the vacation cash out would be dependent on this other item, so. I'm good.
Any other discussion? Cool. All right. Then I will make a motion to table item F, the 2025 proposed budget for next month.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries 4-0. And if you have any inputs, questions, needs, feel free to reach out to Chief. Please do not reach out to the board as a whole so that we don't have issues of that circulating around everybody. Apologies, Chief, you might get some repeats, but
I'm good with
we
it.
won't have a.
At least I already have the answer.
Meeting. Any other matters to come before the board? Seeing none, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.